All right, let's hear a little bit from last night. Your Miami Heat, again, losing to the Memphis Grizzlies. First, let's hear from, can we get Eric Spoelstra, Robbie, from yesterday? Eric Spoelstra just saying that the Memphis Grizzlies, they hurt us everywhere, which they did. They had Valanciunas, Dylan Brooks. They were driving. They were hitting threes. They were bullying them. They did it all. He couldn't stop nothing. Here's Eric Spoelstra.
They hurt us pretty much everywhere. We gave up over 120. They had 50 in the paint. Obviously, they hit 17 threes. There's not a whole lot we did well defensively, and we paid the price for it. We're much better than we showed tonight, and that just shows you how fragile things can be in this league. You think you're playing well, and then a team can come in and play like they did, against us tonight.
I think the thing that's just disappointed that a couple things. One, everybody was very high on what the defense was going to do for Miami with bringing Oladipo in. Just wasn't there for him yesterday. They also just had their first practice with Oladipo, so I think they were feeling confident about kind of instilling everybody with the chemistry. It didn't feel that way yesterday. A little bit herky-jerky still. Although Oladipo offensively, starting to look a little bit more comfortable, especially driving to the rim and things like that. But the story of the game just wasn't like the offense was fine for the Heat. Like there was no if I just gave you the Heat side of the box score, you'd be like, oh, this would have been a great game. Duncan Robinson hitting from three. Tyler Hero gave you 19 off the bench. The only thing that was really a blip was, I guess, Gogi having a slow game. I know, but Jimmy Butler giving you 28, Bam giving you a triple-double. So defense was really the story of the game, as Spo said. Here's Bam Adebayo after the game with his triple-double. He does not give one rat's ass about that, though.
We lost, so I don't give a damn about that triple-double. We lost. It's been days I've had 8 points if we won. Happy to do it in the locker room. So stats don't matter to me, man, as long as we get W.
So he seems like he took it well. And
he takes losing rough.
He does. It's part of what I love about him, though. And then finally, the stroke man, Duncan Robinson, says, because they've gone now. This is how it's gone, Leroy. He'd have been like, they've been like stock. They've been like crypto. It's gone win streak, losing streak, win streak. And hopefully it's just a little blip, and then they can get back to their ways, and this doesn't get too out of hand. Here's Duncan Robinson.
Just refocus, learn from it, use as motivation, and we shouldn't need any motivation for who's coming in here Thursday. Obviously a great challenge, really good team, and we got to band together. No one individual is gonna shoulder it on their own, but it's got to be a group, collective effort.
That Heat game was like a Jazz Chisholm at bat. In that, can the Heat defend? Yes. Can Jazz Chisholm hit? Yes. But what happens when you're just not in sync?
Yeah.
That means that you're way off. You're way off with what pitch you think is coming. You look silly. It wasn't that the Heat weren't playing defense, but they weren't together. I won't say together.
No, I think you're right, dude. I think I felt like, the first couple games, it felt like, and I know that the teams aren't as good. Like the Warriors are free falling right now, and Cleveland sucks. So also Memphis is better than those teams. Memphis has a better record than the Heat.
Right.
So there's that. But I think also it felt like yesterday there was a lot of pointing around, a lot of trying to communicate. It felt like
a lot of rushing to guys and then only to give up a wide open three.
Yeah, it felt like they were off the practice. They were almost trying to communicate more, whereas maybe the first couple of games were just pure. We got new guys here. We're going to just defend hard with effort. And I don't know
if I tell you this one point is this. When you go into a game with a game plan, right? This is what we're going to do, what we're going to do, what we're going to do. And then you get into that game, and the things you could care less about are the things that are hurting you.
Yeah.
Then you have to adjust to pay attention to those things. And that's what happened.
It'd be
because
like,
I can tell you under no circumstances were they thinking we got to double
Right.
Valanciunas?
Right. It's like you're getting ready for the Tennessee Titans, and you're like, we got Derrick Henry to stop here, boys. Derrick Henry is what we got to stop. And Tannehill comes and throws a 90-yard bomb to start the game.
Right. Exactly. And so sometimes you just get caught in chase mode the whole game where you can't ever catch up with a scheme to defend them. And
Right.
part of the reason is because I don't care what game plan you come up with, you don't have anybody that was going to stop Valanciunas.
Why can't we just put a picnic basket on the court? Maybe he would have gone for that.
No, or put a guy in there.
Hey,
Go ahead and look. Go ahead on and dust UD off and say, go give me 6 fouls.
Whoa.
-1.
I'm just saying.
-1.
Tone.
Look, sometimes the game,
-1.
sometimes the game gets to that point where just not him. I don't care if you got to maul him, right? But you can't have a big on the other team just camped underneath the rim.
They did sign Dewayne Dedmon yesterday. Now, what do you think, Leroy? Do you think Dewayne Dedmon, is he going to be more in the ilk of Birdman or the more in the ilk of Mike Bibby? Like, where is he going to land in the scheme of Heat late season pickups or Heat mid season pickups to help us out here? He has not played basketball in a little bit. I know he had a bad game yesterday. I've been very pleased with what Trevor Ariza has brought to the table.
Right. But he's a wing guy. You have
he's a
him
wing guy.
You put him in the paint and he's going to struggle because he's 6'8", 6'9".
But
here's what I would say. If you are him, okay, was it Dedmon?
Yeah, the dead man.
If you are him and you are Dedmon, you have to think, wow, I am going into a situation where I am one of one. Right? And you go into that situation and say, anything that I do on the floor is a bonus because I'm somebody they don't have.
Right.
And sometimes it's motivation to be better.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, Dewayne Dedmon was given the Hawks, terrible Hawks team. He gave him 11. He gave him 11 and 7, and shot 38% from three, taking 3 threes a game, 3.5 threes a game. But then last year just stunk and fell out of the league, and hasn't been playing basketball. So
but now I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna give him a call. Hey,
hello.
Yeah, Dewayne, this is Pat. We having some problems with size. We want to bring you in. What kind of shape are you in? You know what? That don't even matter. Here's what we want. We want rebounding.
Yeah, I give that.
We want size.
Yeah.
Don't come over here shooting threes.
I
That
got
ain't your role here.
But Pat, I got that stroke right, man. You should see me in the gym.
We got shooters.
Long range.
We don't need shooters.
Wet.
But we don't have rebounders and 7-footers.
With no 7-footers.
Right. So
No 7-footers, man.
So as long as it bring him in, look, we're gonna give you a good check. You've been in the league a while, you're gonna get a nice check. Possibly could do something at the end of the year. But play your role. Know your role. Don't go out and think you got to be a ball handler. But look, we had that guy. He's no longer with us.
Texter writes in, great story, bum-ass Twitchers. Jeez. Knew that was coming.
Here we go.
I knew that was
Civil.
And no, it's Tobin's fault.
What? DA says that he's going to be between a bum and a stiff. A biff?
That guy.
Or a stum? What is between a bum and a stiff? Is it a stum or is it a biff?
I say Biff.
We'll see. I mean, look, he's the other thing is they gotta, we'll see how much they incorporate him too. I mean, it's not like something Spo uses a ton either, but as Leroy says, we'll see. They'll roll it out. This is the other thing too, is the Heat are in this position right now where they gotta make, obviously you want to make top 6 because you want to be out of the playing game. All right, so they're 6th right now.
Yep.
Right, but they're only, I think, a game up on 7 and 8. But in a weird way, you're using these last. What are we talking, Robbie? What's left? Like 22 games, something like that.
Pull it up.
Because it's 72 games. What do they play? Like 50?
They are 26 and 25. They've gotten 51 games in the books.
So they got what? 21 games.
21 games left.
Yep.
So you got a West Coast trip coming up. They always say they bond on a West Coast trip. That's always a Spo thing. Never had a bad West Coast trip, even when they've gone 1-7. He's like, we bonded.
We grew as a team.
Grew as a team. Spo's never had a bad West Coast trip in his entire coaching career. He loves it. Takes him to the vineyard, whatever. So they gotta incorporate all of these things. Like they gotta, they gotta incorporate Oladipo being their ball handler. Who's taking over when? How much is he going to divert to Jimmy? They got to incorporate, how much Bielitsa is going to be part of the mix. How much is Trevor Ariza going to be out there? What's their closing lineup going to look like? Yet also got to put together a decent enough record to where you can be 4th, 5th, 6th, because you're, most likely the way they've been playing aren't going to go and catch the Bucks at 3. And, it's a lot. It's a lot to work on. But I think that, Spo seems pretty even keel about it, even though it feels like one of these games where they get flattened out and the team shoots the lights out is happening, like pretty much every 5-6 games where you think everything is kind of figured out and put on path.
It's a league where guys can make shots and you lose to that.
By the way, Tobin,
like here, sometimes you play a game and you play the game you want to play, both offensively and defensively. They don't say block shots. They say contest shots because they don't want you to foul. So if the guy's making contested shots, they'll all tell you, everybody throughout the NBA, he shot a contested 3. I'll live with that.
I am really answering your question perfectly, Tobin, by the way.
What's that?
What's between a bum and a stiff? It's in the chat. I am Ray. He answered your question perfectly. This is not me. He says, between a bum and a stiff is a Tua.
-1. It's not funny.
Point for Tua.
Right,
That's not what I called for.
All right, hold on. I'll give myself a -1 for acknowledging the tweet. Fine. But he gets a point. I'll take the -1. He gets the point.
-1 for Sass for explaining yourself.
-1 for Sass.